Thank you so much for being here. We are so excited to tell you about pre-K at DCPS. All right, before we get started, just going over a couple of housekeeping items. We are using Zoom to host tonight's session. Feel free to unmute to ask questions throughout the session as you like. You can also use the chat box to ask questions or add comments throughout the session. We will have a couple of slides where we stop and do a Q&A for everybody, but you're welcome to chime in anytime. And then just also noting again that we do record our sessions so that folks who weren't able to attend tonight can take a chance to review this on their own time. So if you don't want yourself captured on video, go ahead and turn that off now. And then we also are offering simultaneous interpretation in Spanish this evening. So I'm going to pause for a second to allow anybody who wants to access that service to go ahead and follow the instructions on the screen, and then also asking my colleague Florence to go ahead and read those instructions in Spanish as well.
Thanks, Drew. Buenas tardes, buenas noches a las familias que hablan español, si están con nosotros. Aquí está la lista, las instrucciones en cómo accesar la interpretación al español. Si usted está usando una computadora, tiene que presionar en el símbolo del globo, que en inglés dice interpretation, que significa interpretación. Eso va a estar en la parte inferior de la pantalla. Y después va a presionar en el símbolo las letras que dice ES o para español, Spanish, para el español. Después presionar donde dice se mute original audio para silenciar el audio original, porque eso silencia todos los demás idiomas. Si usted está usando un celular o una tableta, también va a presionar para el globo, pero lo va a presionar usando los tres puntitos que dicen more o más. Presiona donde dice Language Interpretation, que es interpretación del lenguaje. Y una vez más va a presionar Spanish para seleccionar español y va a presionar Mute Original Audio, silencia el audio original y eso también silencia.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Drew.
much. Absolutely. All right. Moving right along. So, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to join tonight's session. We are excited to tell you all about what makes DCPS's pre-K program unique. And joining us tonight, we have several members of the Early Childhood Education Division who are going to be talking to you this evening. So, I will go ahead and pass it over to Abby to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Great. Hi, everybody. My name is Abby Daniels. I'm the Deputy Chief of Early Childhood Education for DCPS. I'm so excited to lead the division that supports all things pre-K as well as our child development centers in early stages. I started in DCPS as a pre-K teacher, pre-K and kindergarten many years ago, and I'm really excited to be here and talk to you all as the leader of this division, but as well as a parent of a pre-K 3 age student too. So thank you, and I'll pass it on to Nick.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nicola McKenzie. I go by Nick. I have been at DCPS. This is my 14th school year at DCPS, and I've worn many different hats. And currently, I am part of the DCPS Head Start ECE team, and I'm very excited to be here. And now I'll pass it to Flo.
Thank you, Nick. Good evening, everybody. I'm Florence Kreisman. I am one of the instructional specialists that's on the DCPS Head Start team. I too have worn many hats here in DCPS. I first joined DCPS almost 16 years ago. So it's a pleasure to be with you all this evening. Passing it to Lauren.
Thanks, Flo. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lauren Chisholm. I am the Director of ECE Instruction. I am not new to DCPS. I'm actually a boomerang. So I've been in DCPS, I've been in charters and around DC for almost 20 years now. So super excited to share and connect with you all this evening. And tossing it to Lanika.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lanika Womack. I'm the lottery coordinator. I am on the enrollment team, so I deal with everything lottery related. And thank you for joining today.
Fantastic. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Let's go ahead and get started.
Great, thanks, Drew. So since you all are joining us for this session, I assume you're facing the sometimes daunting prospect of finding the right pre-K program for your little one. Many of tonight's participants are probably thinking, where do I start? How do I determine which pre-K program is right for my child? What does DCPS have to offer? And what do different schools have to offer? And maybe, how does the lottery work? And while every family is unique and every child is unique and might have different priorities when choosing a pre-K program, we know that all families want their child to attend a program that is safe, joyful, and prepares them for success in kindergarten and beyond. So for our time together tonight, we'll focus on those three considerations in terms of what makes DCPS unique. And so on this slide, you'll see how we'll spend our time together this evening. First, I'm going to give an overview, a really big picture of our pre-K program. Then we'll talk about what's unique in DCPS. So specifically our staff, the experiences that we provide for our students, our curriculum, and our classrooms, what our daily schedule is like, and then what our comprehensive programming looks like in DCPS. And then at the end of the session, we'll talk about the lottery process, and we'll try to leave some time at the end for questions. So let's go ahead and get started. So the fact that you're here with us this evening means that you probably already recognize the importance of high quality pre-K programs. High quality pre-K programs can have significant and lasting impacts on children's school readiness, achievement throughout school, and even their life outcomes. And this includes helping to ensure children are ready for success in kindergarten, excuse me. Children who attend high quality pre-K programs tend to do better throughout elementary school, including increased literacy and math achievement. And some studies have even shown that high quality pre-K programs can have an impact all the way through high school graduation and beyond. And so I want to start just kind of by providing an overview of our programming before we kind of dig into what makes us unique specifically. But at DCPS, we have 136 pre-K3 classrooms serving about 2,100 pre-K3 students, 163 pre-K4 classrooms serving about 3,400 pre-K4 students, and then 68 mixed age classrooms, which means like a 3 and 4-year-old classroom. I think it's exciting to share that our students come from more than 100 different countries and speak more than 100 different languages. So that's kind of the big picture of our program. And now I want to hand it over to the rest of the team to share more of those details about what we really find is unique and important about our program. Thanks, Nick.
Thank you, Abby. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our Head Start program. Again, my name is Nick, and welcome everyone this evening. So DCPS offers Head Start programming at select elementary schools in Ward 7 and 8. The DCPS Head Start program is a multi-generation approach that provides wraparound services for families, meaning that we provide services that are family-facing, that there is mental health support, that there's wellness support, and that all of those are integrated. There's also health and nutrition support as well. Children and families in the Head Start have access to all of these opportunities, and they also get to go on field trips and other school-based activities. Families also get really involved, and Head Start families can also participate in the school-based parent committees, and also on a program-wide level on the Policy Council, which is a governing body that collaborates with the DCPS Head Start staff to design and actually oversee the program as a whole. Thank you, Drew. So tonight we're going to talk a lot about how amazing our educators are. Here at DCPS, we are super proud of our teachers and the work that they do on behalf of children and families. Our teachers are highly trained with expertise in early childhood development and learning. So unlike other pre-K programs across the nation, all DCPS teachers hold a bachelor's degree in either early childhood education or a related field. And also, most of our teachers have advanced degrees as well. In addition to that, our teaching assistants have at least an associate's degree or at least 48 credit college hours. And so together as a teaching team, the staff receives ongoing coaching, they receive training and professional development to support them in providing excellent instruction to all of the children that we serve. So what's unique about our student experience? So if you take a look at the slide here, at DCPS, our pre-K classes remain small. So our in-person pre-K 3 classes will not exceed more than 16 students, and our pre-K 4 in-person classrooms will not exceed 20 students. So having this class size really allows for our teachers to get to know children and families and provide a great deal of individualized instruction to each and every child, and always supporting that social emotional piece for children as well. So the last thing that I'm going to talk about is, and it's something that's really important to us as a program, is we deeply believe that young children learn and get the best experiences when they feel good and safe in an environment. At DCPS, we believe that young children are capable and competent learners, and their voices and ideas are welcomed and valued in our spaces. We believe that children thrive in environments that they feel welcomed in, that they feel safe, that they feel loved, that they feel nurtured. And we care about your child's learning. But we also really care about how your child feels in school. What is their experience like? We want all of our young learners to know what they are and how important they are and how valued they are in our classrooms, and to know that they are safe and they are always loved. Thank you so much. And now I will turn it over to Flo.
Thank you, Nick. Yes, so I'm excited to talk a little bit more about what the day looks like and how children are actually learning in the classrooms. So, when it comes to our classrooms in DCPS for pre-K, children learn through a combination of things, right? There's very intentionally planned play, teacher-led lessons, and joyful learning experiences. Our approach to early learning is based on years of research about how young children learn best. And that research shows that young children learn through active, hands on experiences, including child directed play and that intentional teacher led activity and experience. Based on this research, our classrooms follow a project based approach through which children learn through fun, hands on experiences. Our teachers design those early learning experiences that focus on promoting children's language, literacy, math, science, emotional development, which we'll talk a little bit more about too, and creativity through joyful activities that prepares them for kindergarten and beyond. Okay, so here you'll get a sense of what the daily schedule looks like in our pre-K classrooms when you look at that list here. You'll see that there's lots of opportunities throughout the day for teachers to lead lessons and to facilitate a variety of learning experiences and activities. Each day, children participate in targeted small group lessons as well that allow teachers to target specific skills based on data that they're collecting, read alouds, whole group meetings. They also have the opportunity for outdoor play, weather permitting. Breakfast and lunch are both eaten in the classrooms, in the pre-K classrooms, in what we call family style lunch, because this is an opportunity for children to engage in relaxing conversations with their teachers and their friends while they eat. And this is really a time that teachers use as a learning time. Mealtime is also to learn. And we're using conversation as a way to promote children's language skills and thinking. Recognizing that our pre-K students are still very young and often become tired by midday, they have the opportunity to rest or nap after lunch. Those students who don't need to sleep are provided with quiet activities to work on during this time, such as reading books or working on puzzles. Right, and we definitely want to highlight something else that's going to come up later on about another initiative. But one of the initiatives we're very excited about, beginning this school year, all pre-K classrooms will begin implementing Strong Start and Close, which is part of the whole child model. So here you see on this slide some more information about the routines that are part of it. So Strong Start is a morning routine that helps students get ready to learn. Each practice is designed to fuel a sense of safety and belonging. Nick mentioned that, we want your children to feel safe and loved in the DCPS pre-K classrooms. So this routine begins with greetings at the door, breakfast in the classroom with independent activities, and then a group routine that has elements of community building, which fosters community and togetherness. We're a classroom here together. Purposeful partnering, which is an activity that fuels peer connection. Breathe and focus is an activity where you practice calming down strategies and goal setting. So children come in and they set a goal for their day, the intention that they want to follow for the day. And the classroom chooses the intentions together. So when you're then get to the end of your day for strong close, it includes reflecting on that goal that you set earlier on in strong start, celebrations, so recognizing others in the classroom, and a closing ritual. So we know that when classrooms reflect on their day together, it really crystallizes that experience that they had that for that full day. They noted what was learned, what went well, what they may want to do differently tomorrow. Because when revisiting these goals that students set earlier in the day, then there's personal accountability for our actions, right? That we emphasize that our actions do have consequences and we want to try again tomorrow. And a community ritual is done daily too, that provides a sense of closure and a transition to something new. Something else that we want to highlight is center time. Our classrooms in pre-K are carefully designed to support the active hands-on play and learning that I described earlier. Each pre-K classroom includes a variety of learning centers, such as the ones that are, right on this slide. So as you can see, centers may include science and discovery, blocks, water and sand play, dramatic play, library and listening, art, technology, and toys and games. And each day, children are able to choose which center they would like to play in, or work in. And in those centers, they direct their own play and their learning. The teacher and the assistant teacher that are there, they work and play with them in the centers, asking questions and incorporating learning into the play. And teachers are frequently adding new materials, rotating materials in and out of the centers to provide children with new experiences and to keep them interested and engaged. Teachers also frequently lead small group lessons while the other children are working and playing in centers under the supervision of the assistant teacher. And we want to keep thinking about those student experiences. So again, just highlighting the centers. They're designed to encourage children's deep engagement in play and to promote learning. So as you can see on this slide, here's some examples of some of the skills that are developed in the Learning Center. For example, when you're in blocks, you're working on math skills, right? You're working on spatial awareness and how wide can I build this? Let me think about how tall I can make it before it falls down. I'm sharing with my friends to figure out, can we work on this structure together, right? In art, they might be using some problem solving and social skills and literacy, telling a story about what it is that they're working on. So this is, an important slide that really highlights that there is always learning occurring when activities and experiences are intentionally designed in those centers. So it really is that time that allows teachers to observe children's learning as in their developmental progress in a true, authentic way. And now I will pass it on to my colleague, Lauren.
Thanks, Flo. So as Florence mentioned, there are a bunch of different experiences that we are trying to provide to our students. And one of the ways that we are trying to build if you will, math literacy is through our math curriculum, which is building blocks. We adopted it last year, and we're very, very proud of what we're seeing within our students. And if you don't know what building blocks is, it is a nationally recognized, evidence-based curriculum that focuses on key math concepts through hands-on and playful learning experiences. And so we chose it. Why? Because building blocks focuses on the right skills, the skills that are aligned to DCPS kindergarten standards, as well as skills that are based on core areas of mathematical learning that are most predictive of children's subsequent math achievement, which is really number sense and counting and advanced counting skills. Building blocks also is fully aligned with the science of early learning. And so, in keeping with that, we are focusing on those key math concepts and ensuring that children are having joyful, play-based learning experiences that emphasize thinking and critical thinking and reasoning. Lastly, we found that building blocks works, right? Studies have shown that children who participate in the building blocks curriculum significantly outperform their peers in key math skills and concepts, with effect sizes doubling or with effect sizes that are double what we consider to be strong. So very positive things there. Next. Now, what's unique about our program is also that we offer comprehensive programming for all of our children. So what that means is that we have specialized services. Children can receive speech therapy, occupational therapy, special education, or even mental health supports if needed. And also we want to ensure that all of our children, and we do ensure that all of our children participate in both art, music, and PE. You may also sometimes hear them referred to as specials. Another unique another unique portion or part of our program our comprehensive program is the comprehensive programming that we have for our families. And so we have a wonderful family services team who supports families who may need to have any type of social services. They can benefit from case management or any other support services, whether that's I'm sorry, I'm speaking over myself. Um, as I was saying, they can benefit from case management as well as support you in your journey as this is the first time that you're transitioning with your little one in their pre-K years. And so there are book clubs and other activities that occur throughout the year that families can engage in. As Nick mentioned earlier, another portion of our program has to do with our teachers. And so this is one of the areas that I think I live, or this is my world, which is supporting our teachers through not only professional learning, but also coaching support. So all of our teachers receive ongoing training, PD opportunities, as well as coaching to help them to continue to learn new skills and improve their practice. Our teachers are constantly learning more and they're perfecting their work so that they can create the best possible learning experience for your child. And I guess at this point, I can just underscore the fact that though we talk a lot about playful learning and fun through those activities, I want to ensure or assure you that our children are learning while they're having fun, right? So they leave our pre-K classrooms ready for success in kindergarten and beyond. And based on our pre-K assessments, more than 92% of our pre-K students are meeting or exceeding developmental expectations, which is really big. And the children who do enroll in DCPS pre-K programs outperform national literacy averages upon kindergarten entry. So we are working really hard every day to ensure that your child is going to be ready for kindergarten. And if not ready, be over prepared for the next step in their educational journey.
Thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Lauren. So we are going to go ahead and go to questions. Yep, sorry, excuse me. Any questions that you have about the content that we've talked about so far? We're still going to talk about the lottery in a second with Lanika. But is there, I see a couple questions that I can pass along, and we'll see. So the first question that I see is from Janae about the age for pre-K for DCPS strictly aligns our age cutoffs with the DC local regulations. And so if your child turns 5 prior to September 30th of next school year, they would attend kindergarten. If they are not 5 by that, then they would be in pre-K age. So it's solely based on birth date. And then I see a question around screen time. That is really like a school-based, there isn't a DCPS wide policy on it, but I know that there are conversations within schools about it, and there are different approaches to that. We do emphasize hands-on learning centers and a lot of that. And so you will see like a lot of hands-on learning in our pre-K programs, but there isn't a specific policy around that. And then let's see, I'll see if, just so you guys can hear a different voice as well. I'll hand over to Flo. The questions, there's a question around whether all programs are full day or half day, and then how long kids get for lunch and recess.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you, Abby. Yes, all of our programs are full day programs. You are going to hear us say a lot about it varies by school, but in general, our programs are generally about 8:45 to 8:45 a.m. to 3:15 p.m., though there may be arrival times and dismissal times, right, that vary within that. They are full day programs, and again, you saw that daily schedule where it is pretty full, but they have breakfast, lunch, nap. There's a lot, and recess. There's a lot that goes on that gets them moving as well and resting. And a great question about how long kids get for lunch and recess. It does vary by school in terms of lunchtime, but in general, there's an aim, and Abby, correct me if I'm wrong, there's an aim for generally like 30 minutes for outside time, at least 30 minutes daily for recess.
Yep, that's right, Flo. So yeah, it's typically 30 minutes for
Yeah.
at least 30 minutes for recess, 30 minutes for lunch. And then also some schools do an additional recess, especially at the beginning of the year with younger students. So it really kind of depends on schools. And like also children have opportunities to go to PE, to do music, where they have active play as well. I see a question about early stages, the process of getting a new student in place with early. So early stages is our district-wide evaluation program. And so early stages isn't actually a program that delivers instruction, but we can definitely put that, the info for that in the chat. If you have any questions about your child's development, that would be where to go. And then based on the outcomes of that, early stages would help find a suitable placement within a school. If you're already in the Strong Start program, then you will also go to early stages and they'll help you find a placement. But yeah. But let us know and we can share that information and connect you with somebody from early stages if you have additional questions. And then Janae, Lanika, you can answer that question now, or we can go, we can wait till we get to the enrollment and lottery portion.
We can wait because we're going to answer that in the presentation.
Okay. So Lane and Janae will get to your questions as well. Let's see. I see a question. So for aftercare, I will say, I don't know if you were going to speak to that, Lanika, but aftercare enrollment is a separate piece, and that's school by school. It depends on where you are. Some are partner programs, but your school will have the communication about when to sign up for that. And then for Aaliyah, all schools in our program, it kind of is dependent on the need. So based on the setting, if a child is in a special education specific classroom, then those are at a lot of our schools, but not every single one of our schools. And early stages works to find a placement that is convenient for the family and closest. If your child has an individualized education plan, but is in the general education setting, then they would go to their neighborhood school, or in early stages would support with a placement for that. So there are spots in all of our schools reserved for students through early stages. And then, Flo, do you want to speak to the languages besides English in the curriculum?
Yeah, I sure can. Um, so yes, I see the question about other languages besides English provided. Um, a- as mentioned earlier around the daily schedule, and it does depend by school, there are some schools that offer Spanish as a special, but that may not be at all schools. But we do have specific schools that are Spanish immersion or offer a dual language program with Spanish. And Lanika, I don't know if you touch on that in your selection, but that is something that you can select specifically. Those schools are designated as dual language Spanish immersion in the lottery, and you can select those for your list when you're adding them.
And I believe some schools offer French as well as a special.
Oh,
I'm thinking of at least one. But if you're asking about like not the dual languages school, once again, that'll be a school-based question. And I'm sure they'd be happy to share what their offering is.
good questions. Yes, agreed.
Yeah, great. Any other programmatic questions at this time?
So from Karen, that would actually you there isn't one place that all the schedules are housed like for a specific school. If you are talking about what we would call like the bell schedule, like what time the school day ends and begins, that's often on the school website, excuse me, or the school profile. If you're thinking about like what time is math, how long is recess, that would be something that you'd want to talk to your individual school about. Okay, Drew, I think we can go on to the
All right, let's get to the next big portion. Here we go.
All righty, so we've heard some great information. We're going to use that information to narrow down some schools to apply for in the lottery. So some of the My School DC Lottery top FAQs. How do I know if my child is eligible for pre-K? So you must live in DC. Pre-K 3 must be, we just spoke about this, pre-K 3 must be 3 years old by September 30th, 2026. Pre-K 4 must be 4 years old by September 30th, 2026. And kindergarten must be 5 years old by September 30th, 2026. So who needs to apply for the My School DC lottery? So the families that must use the lottery to apply, all DCPS pre-K programs not currently attended, so pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 if you're not in school already, in boundary, out of boundary, or citywide. This includes public charter schools or any non-DCPS schools. And where do you fill out the lottery application? You'll go to mysschooldc.org, and it's the online application only, no paper applications. And if you have any issues or technology issues, you can always call the My School DC hotline, and they will help you complete the application through the hotline, and we'll give you that information a little later. All right, so navigating through the My School DC lottery. And I know sometimes when people hear the lottery, it sounds overwhelming, but I promise you it's a simple process, and they make it pretty easy. So the first step is to go to the website. Again, the website is myschooldc.org. The second step is to explore pre-K options using the DCPS enrollment website, enrolldcps.dc.gov, and attend sessions like this where you can learn, more about pre-K options. And on that website, of course, you can filter to see what schools have dual language programs, special programs, all of the other things that you may be interested in for your child. So definitely peruse that website. My School DC website has a school finder website, and we'll give you that information as well. So definitely visit these websites to get to know some of the options that you have. All right, so navigating the lottery. Okay, so you can select up to 12 schools of interest. And then you have to rank them in order of preference. So this is really important. You don't necessarily have to add 12 schools, but you definitely want to put more than one because there's no guarantees in the lottery. and I know that question was asked. So there aren't any guarantees in the lottery. It's the actual lottery. So it has an algorithm with different functions. So there are no guarantees. You may get matched, you may get waitlisted. So definitely select up to 12 schools, more than one, because if you get matched with that one and you're not really interested in it, you don't want to feel stuck. Okay, so definitely do your research, find a good list of schools to apply to, and then and rank them in the order of preference. So this is important because when they run the lottery, if you get matched to your number three school. Every school under number three will drop because in the lottery they think that you preferred that school over the schools under it. So if it's not a school that you were really interested in, and let's say number seven was, you want to make sure you rank them accordingly for that very reason. And you want to fill out your application between December 15th and March 2nd. Now, it's no rush, so you don't get any benefits for filling it out early. You don't get any penalties for filling it out late, but you have to definitely fill it out by March 2nd. And it's 11:59 p.m. deadline, and it's a hard deadline. So if you try to do it at 12 o'clock, you won't be able to. So definitely try to reach the deadline. Take your time, do your research. It's no rush, but definitely try to complete it by March 2nd. All right, so here are some key dates. Saturday, December 6th is the My School DC Ed Fest. So this is the annual public school fair for grades 9 to 12. This is where all of the schools get together and you get to visit booths. So if you have any high school children, this will be a great day to come to learn about the different high school options. Public schools will be there, charter schools will be there. Everybody that participates in the lottery will be there, including resources, DC resources. So it's a great event. So definitely come out and join us. The next Saturday, December 13th. That's the pre-K 3 through 8 Ed Fest. So it's a similar situation. Every pre-K 3 through 8 school that participates in the lottery will be there. You'll get to go to different school booths, ask any questions. You can see, you can talk to, sometimes they have parents or students there. You can get some student experiences. You can feel the essence, of each school. So it's a great event. And this is the only time that you'll have all of these schools together in one place. Of course, we have school fairs at individual schools and open houses, but every school will be in the building at one time. So prior to these events, you definitely want to do your research because these events can be overwhelming sometimes because it's every school that in the lottery. So you want to kind of like plan out your visit. So definitely make your list of the top schools that you want to visit. So you can make sure that you get your questions answered. Yeah, so make sure you do your research first, just so you can, visit each booth and talk to everybody you need to talk to. And yes, these are the only AFS dates. But like I said, there are open houses and school fairs that where you can visit at the individual schools. So there are other opportunities to, see the schools and see what they have to offer. Monday, December 15th. So again, this is when the lottery application opens for all grades for next school year, 26-27. Monday, February 2nd. Again, if you have any high school students, this is when the lottery application closes, and it's another 11:59 p.m. hard deadline. Monday, March 2nd, again, this is the pre-K 3 to 8 deadline. So please, please, please have your applications in by 11:59 p.m. March 27th. So this is when the lottery results are available. This is when you will find out if you were matched or waitlisted. Those are the only two options in the lottery. So you'll either be matched to a school, which means you can immediately enroll. And on that day, you can go ahead and enroll if you are matched. If you're a waitlisted, you have to wait until the May 1st, which is the enrollment deadline, before you can be pulled off of a wait list. And then Saturday, April 25th is enrollment Saturday. So if you are matched, that is another opportunity. We're open. Most of the schools will be open that day. Just to welcome any last minute enrollments. You can come up to the schools And if you have any questions, a lot of schools have great events. They have fairs, they have carnivals, so it's it's a great opportunity to meet some of your peers and to get those enrollments in. So definitely come out on enrollment Saturday. It's a fun time, especially if you haven't submitted your enrollment yet. And again, for the wait list, um, I want to speak to so nothing is guaranteed with the lottery. So even if you're waitlisted, sometimes schools are full. Sometimes schools, they start pulling from the wait list on May 1st, but that's not guaranteed either. So you definitely, that's why it's important to have multiple schools on your application because you could be number one on maybe your second favorite school or number 54 on your highest preferred school. So you definitely want to make sure you have options because some schools immediately pull from the wait list and some schools are still pulling from the wait list for this school year. So some schools pull all year, some schools pull immediately. So it's very important to have more than one, good options on your application. Next slide. Okay, I see some questions. So let's answer some questions. All right. Okay, so yes, that was the only date for FS. Thinking about ranking a very low. Okay, so this question, Blake said, I'm thinking about ranking a very low likelihood acceptance pre-K 3 above the pre-K 3 school my little one is zoned to get into in elementary. Will I make it less likely to snag a spot in the number two school if I rank something above it? Yes. So it's important. So if you would prefer the number two school, please rank it number one. So the algorithm does take that into account when it runs. So yes, if you prefer a school, rank it high. So when the algorithm runs, you'll have that better of a chance. But again, nothing is guaranteed. So, but you'll have a better chance if you rank it number one. So great question. All right. I see the open house information was popped in. Thank you for that. Definitely visit that site. It has all the schools' open houses. A lot of open houses are fun. You get to meet the principals, the teachers, see the school culture. So definitely do that when you're trying to make a decision about schools. Okay, if waitlisted and not selected, can we possibly find a spot at a charter school if necessary? So it's the same deal with charter schools. If they're participating in the lottery, you would have to add them on your list. So again, you can, if you prefer, the list isn't discriminatory against charters or DCPS. So if you prefer a charter school over a specific DCPS school, you can rank that higher. But definitely rank it based on your preference. So yes, you could definitely possibly find a spot at charter schools. I'm not sure how their wait lists work, but you still have to apply through the lottery for the charters. Okay, so part of preference, okay, should factor in likely. Yes, so there are preferences for pre-K. So like if you are in boundary, so the way the preference works for in boundary, if you're applying, because every pre-K student has to apply through the lottery. So if you're applying to your in boundary school, you'll get a preference. So if you're waitlisted, what the preference will do is it'll put you higher on the wait list, so you'll get more of a chance to get chosen off of the wait list. So that's how that in boundary preference works. All right, so we are guaranteed a spot in one of the, you are not guaranteed a spot. I'm sorry. There are no guarantees in the lottery. We've seen situations where, you're waitlisted above 20 at all 12 schools, or you get a match and it may not be your preferred and you're sitting on the wait list for the rest of your schools. So there are no guarantees, but yeah, it's a post lottery, so you can always go after the lottery runs. You can also always go in and add schools in the post lottery, apply to different schools that you didn't apply to. Yeah, so it's no guarantee. Yes, so yes, that's the post lottery. If you don't, you get that's the redo. If you don't get into it in the first round, Yes, Blake, thank you. So yes, there's no guarantee, unfortunately, when the lottery opens. So yeah, so the post lottery opens as soon as results are released. So as soon as results are released, you can go back in um and add schools and yeah, add schools that you weren't already on your list. So if you get no spot, one of the options after the second. If you don't get a spot, so pre-K is not a compulsory grade. So if you don't get a spot, I would just suggest looking at other options, depending on if it's pre-K 3 or pre-K 4. But I'm sure the team can answer that better than I
Yeah,
can.
Winika, I can speak to that.
Thank
I think
you.
like you might have your 12 schools that you have looked at. We as a team, as you said, like we share that we have lots of options and we feel really good about every single program we have, but we know that there are preferences and there are things that you are looking for and that might work better for your commute or close to your home or where your child already has a friend. The good news is there are a lot of pre-K seats in DC. And so you might not be able to get one like right by your home based on where you live and the availability around there. But there are enough seats for we haven't run out of them yet. We still have seats open this year. So even if you don't get one through the lottery, there are open seats at different places. And I think there is like, you try something out and it's not like your original choice, you will be able to lottery again the following year. So there are enough seats for all the kids in DC. It just depends on where in DC you end up exactly. So, Lanika, that's the right answer, right? We still,
Yes, definitely.
yeah.
No, yes, you are correct. And again, if you don't get into where you really wanted to get into, but you do have a match. If you enroll in that match school, that does not prevent you from enrolling in any other school once you're pulled off of the wait list. So if you are matched, that's just a secure spot. So you can go ahead and enroll. And if you're pulled off of a wait list of a school that you prefer over that match school, you can still enroll in that school. So I just wanted to put that out there because sometimes people think if they're matched, they're stuck with that school, but you're not. And do you have to do the lottery every year? No, you do not have to do the lottery every year. Um, so once you're in that school, you're in that school. Unless you want to switch, if you want to change schools, you'll have to reapply through the lottery. All right. Seems like the pre-K 3 I most want has classes that pretty much get entirely consumed by sibling preference. Okay, another preference. Sometimes there are very few accepted at all. No, it's my family's choice. Would you recommend just putting that number one so as not to risk missing that spot altogether? That's a great question, and it seems like you've done your research. Um, so if you really wanted to get into that school, I would definitely put that in as number one. Again, the way you rank is very important. So, and that's probably the most tedious part of the lottery, just figuring out your ranking. Um, but as it was stated, we do have a lot of a lot of seats. So that's how the lottery runs. Schools put in their amount of seats. The lottery runs, and then the people who do not make those seats will get waitlisted. And schools tend to pull from their wait list really fast. So it shouldn't be an issue to get pulled from a wait list. Um, so yeah, so it shouldn't be any worries there.
Like, I think you might also just, seems like you have access to the data for it, which is all publicly available as well. So I think thinking about, if you're thinking about your like neighborhood school, I would look at, how many in-boundary families were on the wait list. If you're seeing that in-boundary families are waitlisted in previous years, then that might indicate that like there's a chance that by putting it second, you would be less likely to get in. If you're seeing that all the in-boundary students are getting in, and you're in boundary, then that's a sign that like maybe putting it as a second choice. As Lanika said, there are no guarantees. There are changes in demand year over year. There are changes in birth rates. So we, won't want to say like this is the right way to go. But I think digging into that data and seeing like what the in-boundary impacts
Yeah.
are, because every school is a little bit different with that.
No, I totally appreciate that. And yeah, it's really nice that all that data is available. And just for the audience members listening, it's school within school is the one I'm looking at for their
Yeah. And then let's see. I see Janae has a question about the curriculum used in the CBOs. So it depends. So I think CBOs, a lot of them use creative curriculum. We use creative curriculum as our interdisciplinary curriculum. I am not aware of other CBOs using building blocks or Strong Start. So those are unique. There isn't like a citywide curriculum for pre-K, but there is a DCPS specific.
And I do want to piggyback off of what you said about the in-boundary school. If you apply to your in-boundary school, again, you will get a preference. So you'll shoot all the way at your wait list so that, definitely go to the open house, get a feel for that school, because you have the best chance to get into that school. So definitely check your in-boundary school out.
Great. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I mean, it's exciting to hear that like parents are so excited about thinking about the next steps for their child. Like I said, we are really proud of what we were able to offer at our 80 schools that have pre-K programs, and everyone has their unique personality and unique offerings. And I know it can be a lot of work to kind of narrow it down, but start thinking about what you're most excited about. And we encourage you to talk to that school, attend an open house, and then like Lanika said, like have that EdFest strategy ready so you can visit the different schools. There are also a lot of like cute little giveaways and things. And please visit our table. You can meet our friend Scribbles and get. I don't think we had any pictures, but that is our resident puppet. And so, yeah, we're excited to see you there, and we feel confident that we will have a great place for your child, even though it might not be the top of that list. But I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. Don't hesitate to reach out for questions. You'll see our information on screen. We are excited to help. We'd really appreciate your feedback, so please take a moment to fill out the survey. The link is in the chat as well. It helps us inform our sessions, but just by filling it out, you'll be entered in to win a drawing, to receive a bundle of children's books mailed to your home. So we encourage you to do that. But it really is, knowing like we know that we can hear from this, like people have a lot of questions about the lottery, and so it lets us engage other teams to make sure you can get the information you need when you join us for these evening sessions. So thank you, and we hope you have a wonderful evening, and look forward to seeing you next year in pre-K.